Hello, this is John from caveofprogramming.com. In this tutorial we're going to take a look at overloading the equals equals and not equals comparison operators. I think it's worth taking a look at a couple more examples of operator overloading before we leave the subject, although we've seen all the basic techniques so far. An easy thing to do if you want to overload a particular operator is just Google for an example of how that looks. But usually you can pretty much think it out just from a bit of reflection as well, once you know the basic idea. So we've got a couple of our complex objects here using this complex class we've created. And we'd like to be able to do this. We'd like to be able to say if C1 equals C2, then we could output a message here that says equals Endler, else let's output a message that says not equal. Let's call that, let's say that's equal, and this can be not equal. So this isn't going to work at the moment because the equality test operator is not defined for this. So if I try to build it, we just get an error. But it's really easy to define it. Let's go to complex.h and we'll say here in the header, in fact, we need to put this in the actual class itself. Equals equals is going to belong to the actual class. Let's write, well, if we look at equals equals, it's returning a Boolean. That's how come it can work with if. It's got to return true or false. And the arguments to it are clearly going to be two of the objects that we want to apply it to. So let's return bool here. And we're going to say operator equals equals. It's not going to change the actual object that it's called on, so we can put const here, and the two arguments are both going to be const as well, because it's not going to change those. Well, actually, sorry, there's only going to be one explicit argument because we've got the implicit first argument of this. So let's put here const complex reference other. Then we can copy this definition here, go to the CPP file. I hope I've got the right one. Yes, looks like it. And we'll put this in here somewhere. So let's stick it down here. We need to say that this is a member of the complex class, and we need to put brackets in. And then we just have to decide under what circumstances we consider these two things to be equal. So let's say we consider them to be equal if the real parts are equal and the imaginary parts are equal. So we're just going to test both of these instance fields, in other words. So we can do that in one line, actually. We can say return and return real equals equals other.real. So here the equals equals is applying to the built-in double type, and logical and imaginary equals equals other dot imaginary. That should do the trick. We could make this a little bit clearer if we want. It's pretty clear already, but we could put some brackets in there just to make it even more clear. And then if we build this, hopefully we'll get the result that we want here. So it's built now, and let's run this program. And it says they are equal. But if I change one of these, let's change that, then we get not equal. And similarly, if I change one of the real parts here, then they're also not equal. Let's put them back again. So we can also implement the not equals operator. If you implement equals equals, very often you're going to want to implement not equals as well, and that's very easily done. So in exactly the same way, it's going to look really similar. So let's copy the equals equals definition and put in not equals here. And then we can go to the CPP file and copy our definition here. So the operator that we're going to implement is going to be not equal. And we may as well use equals equals to define this, because it's very unlikely that you'd want a different definition of not equals to equals equals. The only difference is going to be one is not the other. So let's just put here return not, and we can say this equals other. That should work. Again, brackets might make it look rather a lot nicer. I'm not sure if we really need them. It depends on the operator precedence. I don't think we do, but let's build this anyway with brackets. And now we can let's just copy that, and we can say here, if C1 is not equal to C2, that's going to be not equal. Otherwise, it's going to be equal. I'll just format the code with the auto formatter. So if we run this now, we get two equals, and if we change them to make one of them slightly different, then both of them should say not equal. Okay, so that's it for this tutorial. Pretty simple, just applying what we've seen already, and we'll leave this subject soon because now we've seen, I think, pretty much all the basic techniques. There are some other things that you could use, that you could bring into operator overloading, for example, in cases where you want to implement an operator in the parent class but have it work in the child class. That can get a bit complicated, and often it's better just to redefine the operator in your subclass. But there are other things that you could do with this, but we've seen all the basic techniques here. So I think we'll take a look at just one more to take a look at something a little bit more wacky, and then probably we'll leave this section. So worth having a go at that yourself. Just try it with any kind of class that you've designed yourself and see if you can get these operators to work. And until next time, happy coding.